Hello and welcome to the StrongCast, where it is our goal to help you perform without limitations. We chat with athletes, experts, and innovators to get their insights on optimizing the movement experience. I'm your host, Dr. Neil Toussaint. Welcome to the StrongCast, where we talk all things performance and longevity. I am joined for a third time by Mr. James West. Did you know you've been on the podcast 3 times now? This is the third time, man. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
I only remember one other, but it's cool.
Right. There was that time when you were here, and then there was a time like way back where we did one like this virtually. So, yeah.
Cool.
So obviously I like your brain. I like your skills. I want to talk about them. And
Thank
I
you.
think, yeah, no worries. Before I have you introduce yourself and everything, I just wanted to talk about, A, your journey, and then B, just goal setting for 2024, because from what I see from the outside looking in, you're somebody who's constantly pushing the envelope in life and in tricks and movement, different types of movement, whether it's parkour, whether it's tricking, and you've just been doing that year after year. So I thought it'd be a really good time, as this is a time to reflect for a lot of people, how they did last year and how they want to do moving forward, like just to hear this conversation and for us to get some actionable tips for people to achieve their goals. So thanks for coming on. And yeah, if you could just start with, I mean, there's 2 other podcasts. It's number 5 and 14 or 15. I just looked, but anyway, it's either 14 or 15 for the second one. So you guys could check that out. But instead of, the usual background, maybe you just can start with your skill set that you've landed or mastered so far. And the reason I want to talk about that is going to be important moving forward. Just give them a rundown of where you're at, where you're from, and like what you've landed so far. I know that's not your style, but
Sure, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, what's good? My name is James West. I'm from Boston, and I've been doing flips for like 11 years now. And what I've landed. Do you want like probably just tricking stuff, right? Because that's what's cool.
I mean, you could throw a few parkour ones, some crazy ones.
Sure.
If we need some clarification, you can. I don't know, but I think people will be good.
Okay. All right. I've done let's see, 1, 2, 3 in corks on floor. I've done double full in and full on floor. What else? Like 3, 2, 2 in swings. Scoot quad pop full. What else? Cork in, pop full. I don't know. Full in swing cork. There's a lot of.
Dude, there's a lot.
Things.
You didn't even mention standing double back wasn't even a mention, put it that way.
True, yeah. I don't think it is that, but yeah, there's so many things, bro.
Yeah.
Not even going to make it to the freerunning stuff for sure. I've done corking full outside, like I'm landed with hands. That's probably my favorite freerunning thing I've done. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So in all of that, you've gone from not being able to do anything to being able to do that. So I really want to get into that process. But first, more recently, you've had like an injury, right? So
yeah, I actually had 2, but one of them is completely trumps the other one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's go. I'm talking more about the leg, but then yes, the wrist happened too. So why don't we go through both of those and then just the story with them, and we'll go from there.
Yep. So in June of this year, I broke my ankle and I tore a bunch of ligaments while I was at OMFG. And then I got misdiagnosed there. Thankfully, did not decide to get surgery there because it would have been the wrong one.
Wow.
And I went home, and yeah, dude, it sucked. But went home, went to a good hospital and got a good doctor, and then got surgery to repair a bunch of ligaments and stuff, and then couldn't walk for a long time, like almost probably like 2 months. That was crazy.
Wow.
And then got another surgery to remove some hardware and put in some more. That was about 2 months ago, and that's where I'm at now. I can walk, but running is kind of sus, so that's where I'm at. in terms of recovery, and I can train, but like obviously it's like it's limited, but it's not at the same time. Like it's limited because I can't like jump that much, but it's not because there's a lot you can do without jumping. So that's where I'm at.
Dude,
So
yeah,
yeah,
and I definitely want to talk about how you train around injuries. That's a big point there. But if you want to go into the wrist real quick too.
yeah, sure. I broke my wrist in April of this year. Um, Doing a round off. It was up a hill. That's probably why I broke. But it was super random, just on a round off. Uh, I didn't. I. It was very painful. Got an X-ray and it was negative, which apparently it happens like a decent amount. And then instead of telling me to come back, they were like, which I think they're supposed to do. They were like, "Oh, it's a sprain." I was like, "Word, that's chill." And then I waited for it to get better. Never did. Got another X-ray in August. It was broken, and then got surgery last month. So yeah, three
Jeez.
surgeries.
My God, that's crazy. So
Yeah,
yeah, I forgot that that's true that it was before your leg injury, but you treated it after.
I did. Yeah, and I was still like the wrist. I was still able to do like so much stuff. Like I was about to go to Europe like for the whole summer with a broken wrist, and I didn't know it was broken. I knew I couldn't put my hand flat, but I was like, okay, that's fine. Like I can still do so much. But yeah, obviously the ankle kind of ruined that.
Right. Yeah. So let's start talking about how you train around these injuries. Like, so, I mean, a lot of people in the community, I'm sure, have seen your videos where, I mean, you have a boot on and you're going hard on trampoline, just doing stuff like, that people aren't doing, but doing 11 of them. Or you did like ball outs and all this kind of stuff. It was pretty
A lot of
funny.
ball outs. A lot of ball outs.
Pretty funny. So yeah, just if you could go into that, like how's that
Yeah,
going?
going very well. Now it's going a lot better now. I feel less limited. But yeah, at the start it was kind of crazy. Like I'm pretty sure I started doing ball outs at our gym, Metro, before I could walk without crutches. Like I was like way before I could walk without crutches. Like
Yeah.
it was as soon as I could go on my back on the trampoline and like do back bounces, I was doing ball outs from my memory. And from there, like I was trash at ball outs. Like I'd never trained that much before, but I could. It was a trick I could do, so I knew I could just like do a ball out, and then from there, it's just like, all right, like how do I make this more? Like how do I build on this? And then just started doing a bunch, and then eventually, like maybe a week later, I ended up doing my first double ball out on the tramp, and like that was kind of scary, just to not. I couldn't touch my foot to the ground at all, like not even a little. So, and then from there, I just kept going, and like for a while, my ankle was still very fragile. Like I couldn't touch it to the ground, but I would just do mad ball outs every session, like the whole time, like hours. Then I got a lot better at them. And then eventually I was just less limited and I would try more stuff. And yeah, now I can jump and stuff. But at the start, ball outs only. And it was kind of fun, honestly, having like just one thing I could work on. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so sick, man. I think most people, speaking from experience, personal, and I treat a lot of people as a physical therapist. So there's that part where you get injured and you're like just focusing so much on what you can't do,
Yeah.
and then you're just trying to do those tricks to the best of your ability, but they're not working very well, and you can't really push those. What I
Yeah.
like about what I see with you training is literally like the perfect way really to train as far as I don't know about doing things as early as you're doing them, but you know that those are risks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It
that's the
was
thing I know
definitely,
about you too. It's like people think it's like just aimlessly, you're just aimlessly doing this stuff, but it's because you have the capability to do it. And yes, something might go wrong one day, but I think that just from the outside looking in, I think that already you've proven that you can do it pretty successfully. So you've already gotten a lot out of training around injuries. I think,
oh, yeah.
right. So what is that mind like? Is there something that you would tell somebody that kind of gets stuck in that rut of just like, dang, I'm injured, I can't do what I like to do, for them to either be more creative to what they can do, or to just kind of get past that barrier?
I mean, Yeah, if somebody was like super, I don't know, if somebody was super sad about not being able to train, I would maybe just tell them to go on the trampoline or something, just because like it's way less impact, and like a lot of people who are injured and who can't do stuff on floor could do stuff on tramp. I think, I don't know, but then a lot of people just like don't. A lot of people just don't like tramp, or I don't know. It's just, it sounds mean to say, but like it seems like they just don't care to try like something new that they might be kind of bad at, and I'm like, okay, well, that's on you. But that's what I just see. I see some people like, it seems like a lot of people wouldn't want to try tramp like if they got wrecked. From my experience of like, I don't know, training with people that are injured. Yeah, it sounds mean, but it's just what I've seen. Like, yeah, and it helps that I already tramped before, and I already like I started with it when I started doing flips. I knew I liked it, so yeah, it's easy for me.
No, you bring
But I would
out.
tell somebody to try for sure. That's what I would tell them.
You tell them what? Sorry.
I would just tell them to go on the tramp and see if like they can do anything there. That's what I would say for sure.
Right. No, you bring up a super good point, and I think that's the exact barrier, where
Yeah,
people, whether they're scared to do new things, but I don't think it's that much. Like you said, we're always seeing people do things on floor way too soon. But I think
yeah,
it's more of the fear of failing and the ego of just like, oh, I was so good and
yeah.
I
I think
had
that's it.
this.
I think that's it. Honestly, they're like,
Yeah.
why would I move on to something that I suck at when like I was doing dub dubs on floor? I just want to do dub dubs on floor again. Like I don't care about this other thing, which is like fair, but for me, training is just fun. Like, so I would like to do it in any way possible. That's yeah how I see it.
Yeah.
And
And
like people talk shit until you're doing like crazy stuff with ball outs, and they're like, oh damn, like yeah, know what I mean? I'm
it's
not really, but like kind of.
no, absolutely. And it's not even just doing stuff with ball outs, it's the air awareness that you're building at a time where you would just be, if you were someone else, you'd just be playing video games for months or whatever, or
Yeah,
sitting down, like feeling sorry. But now you're maintaining and building your air awareness, and you're still maintaining your core. You're training what you can train, and that's it. And that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because I'm just like, that's so valuable. And I completely agree, whether I've seen that with myself or with other people, like at sessions, it's so valid that we could be doing a lot more with what we have, but we focus on what we can't do. And I think that's
I,
just super cool that you like consistently, no matter what, you're always doing that pretty much. Like, have you had a time where you felt that you were really, really like either down or just not wanting to do that, or felt kind of like what we're talking about, where you're like, ah, man, I don't feel like doing that because it's so simple and I was doing so many crazier things?
yeah, no, sometimes I definitely feel that way, but yeah, I usually, I don't know. Well, now it's like, okay, now I can actually do some stuff with the simple things that aren't off my feet. So then now it's like fine. But before, sometimes I'd be like, oh, I don't care that much to go to the gym and just do ball outs. But yeah, then I'm like, what else am I gonna do? So then I would just go do it. But yeah, it's just me.
Nice. So you just convince yourself through. It probably has something to do with like why you train, right? Like your core, like why maybe it's
Yeah.
helping drive that. So can we talk a lot about that a little bit? Like what are you thinking before going to the session that you're like, oh no, I should do that? Like what is your why, quote unquote?
Yeah, I think I'm not really sure what it is, but I think that I just think it's really fun to actually do. Like the active training for me is fun, and I really like learning new skills and like making my old ones better, like refining them, whatever. I also like the people and like traveling and gatherings and all that. But I think I really just enjoy training and think it's fun to push myself and learn new skills. I think that's it. And so that's why like I'm down to go to the gym and just work on something dumb or like something that other people would see as dumb, but I still think it's like fun just because I don't care about any particular crazy goal for like anything like that. I just want to have fun. So yeah, I think that's my why probably.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be pretty hard, right, to convince yourself to go to the gym at that point if your why or your core drive is I want to be the best, or I want to, prove something. For example, it's hard to prove something when you have a boot on.
Yeah.
But yours is more long term, or it's I think it's more like farsighted because it's just like, well, it's not even. It's more in the present. But yours is just like, I want to train right now and I want to be better right now, and that's fun and that's cool, But I think with other people who, really aspire to these other goals, which I don't think are bad, but maybe they could just be like, hey, like in the long term, I'm gonna get further along with my skills if I actually train now versus,
Yeah.
yeah,
But I think it's just priorities too. I don't know. Like it's just at the end of the day, I feel like it's just what you want, like your preferences. Some people like they probably think it's fun, but like maybe they only think it's fun when they're like at the sesh with the homies type beat, you know what I mean? Or like when they're stomping new tricks, it's fun. And that's completely valid. Like I could be like that too, but yeah, I just like the act of like actually training. So yeah, it's not bad or like invalid to like tricking and training for another reason. It's just like just your preferences, So I
oh,
don't
totally,
think it's bad. Like it's in a way, I guess it's like farsighted to like train the way that I do, but I feel like it's only farsighted if you care about doing it for a long time. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I guess that's the point that I'm making.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, and it's funny too, right? Because it looks risky. So you would think that but from where it comes from, it's just a good thing, and that's the distinction I kind of want to make too, because like, people are looking at these videos and they're like, dude, this kid is just gonna hurt himself again. He's doing way too crazy stuff, and like I said,
Yeah,
that may happen, and that, but
yeah,
the fact is that it's from a different place. Because if it was from like, oh, I need to get better now, I think you'd be
oh
doing
man,
a lot riskier things, and you'd
yeah,
probably would
no,
have hurt yourself again already.
yeah, no, that was not the reason. I just wanted to train straight up.
Right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't have any particular goal to get back to. Like at a certain point, I knew it was going to be a very long time before I was doing like swings or like punches or certain like harder skills again. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do what I can. But yeah, I should be fully transparent though. I did technically actually hurt myself doing this stuff. Not like in the normal way though. The doctor put screws between my bones. He put some stuff in me for the first surgery. And when it came to the second one, it turns out that I broke some of them. And it was
Yeah.
definitely from training. Like there's no way it wasn't. I just don't know the exact moment that it happened. But so there you
Right.
go. Don't be like me. No, I'm kidding. It didn't really even affect my recovery that much. But yeah, it's possible to go too far. It is for sure.
Oh yeah, it's possible and it's easy, and I think people, definitely need to know that that's a risk that you have to be willing. If you're gonna train early and train around injuries, you should do it intelligently, and you also have to be okay with any of the consequences that come with it.
Yep. Yeah,
And
you have to like it's like a game. It's like just a very fine balance between pushing yourself and getting hurt again. Yeah. It's very hard to maintain, but you just you just have to be like very vigilant about what you're trying and like yeah, that's how I see it. You just have to be really careful.
yeah, and that's actually a question I had too. It was like, how do you ride that line between progressing yourself, especially with an injury, but even in general, between progression and staying safe so that you can train another day? Like, are there things you go through in your head that help with that, or do you feel it out? Like, what's your kind of approach to that?
I feel like feel it out is probably the most accurate like way to put that because I don't necessarily have a process or any like line that I'm like okay like I don't want to hurt myself so I'm not going to do this I like ideally I only do things that I think that I can do without hurting myself like in any situation like I only do things if I go through like the idea in my head and like visualize it and I'm like all right can I do this safely without hurting myself like if I'm trying a skill that's like new or like freaks me out a bit for whatever reason, I'll always like think of that like, oh, like how could I possibly hurt myself on this? How can I like avoid that? And then I just conclude come to the conclusion like, okay, like will I hurt myself on this? Should I try it? And then If no, I try it. If yes, like if I won't hurt myself, then I will try it. If I will, then I won't try it. And it doesn't always come out to 100% a success, obviously, but
Yeah, of
that's just
course.
the process that everybody uses, and like that's just how you do it when you're doing like parkour or freerunning, where there's more risky skills. Like everybody has a process like that where they like decide whether they can try something. You can't make it without that. There's no way. Yeah.
Right. And I know in previous podcasts too, we've talked about how you can prove it to yourself. So I don't want to go like too deep into that, but I think it's important just to mention here that you're proving to yourself if you can try it or not through the use of different surfaces, right? So
Yes.
so you've tried these skills, A, you visualize them, B, you have the prereqs and really understand how the skill would work. Then you go to try it on tramp. You do like tramp to pit, or do you just do tramp?
Oh yeah. I mean, it depends on the skill. Like, but
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of like right now specifically. I'm doing a lot of like tramp awareness tricks that I don't land, obviously, because I can jump now but not land. But like one example is I've been trying to do killer to my back, so it's like double full in and then like 540 dive out.
Wow.
If you land it, it'd be double full in, double full out. But yeah, I'm not landing it yet. So anyway, that one I tried into the foam pit like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. It was at Hooked, and then last night I did it tramp to Resi, and then soon, hopefully soon, maybe like I don't know. I think it's raining today, but like soon, I would do it on my tramp at home, and then I don't know. Hopefully, at some point, I would just land it. I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna end, but that's a skill that I'm working on right now, and that's the process I've gone through so far. So
That's
yeah, I just
crazy.
break it down, try it on surfaces that I think I can do it on safely, and then just work up to it until I'm doing it in the way that I want.
That's crazy. And you say, hopefully you can land it. You mean on the floor?
Well, this one's not really
Like
definitely
where?
not impossible by any means, but
No.
no, this one would just be sick to land on my trampoline or due to stomach and Cody out of it or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. 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 Okay.
And
Cool.
dope for my air awareness for sure if I manage to do that. So yeah.
De- Definitely. And I think that's cool too, right? Because like I think there's a limiting belief that like if you can only do it on trampoline, it's not that useful. If somebody like a true like pure tricker that because for you for free running, there's also that aspect of like I want to be able to do things from height and understand that stuff as well. But from like a tricking standpoint, I think some people don't push past where they see like, okay, I'm gonna do quints on trampoline. Like I'm probably not gonna do a quint on floor, although we had quint society, but still, um, So it's like they all only train to the skills that they're trying to train. But do you find a lot of value in training past that, right?
Dude, like absolutely. Like if the Quint thing, like bruh, if you hit Quint on tramp and you make it chill, like imagine how much easier quad could possibly be for you on floor or like or trip or dub. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you manage to hit like sextuple on tramp, like imagine how easy quad on floor is going to be for you then, assuming you have like a good foundation already for that on floor. Like it there's no like in my mind there's no like limit to how much better your technique and like confidence and awareness can be. So just like the more you do the better in my opinion. Like I'm doing killer on tramp. Like am I planning on doing it on floor soon? No, I haven't even done Miller. But like if I do this enough, maybe I can do Miller like sooner because now like if I do a bunch of killers, there's no way I'm gonna mess up a Miller. Like it's not never again, or like not never again, but I can be way more confident with Miller, I can probably try on floor eventually. I'll be way
Yeah.
more confident because I've done like way harder stuff. So I don't think there. I think it's very silly to say that like I'm only going to train to what I have on floor. Swings too, swings. You get crazy at like triple cork, swing triple cork on tramp. Like your dub dubs on floor are going to be so much better. So yeah, in my opinion, like it's crazy to not go further. Yeah.
Yeah. Dope. Dope. So, moving into more of like the goal setting stuff. I mean, I know we talked a lot about how you achieve them, but Let's just first start with the more fun one. Like, what are you planning for 24 as far as, I know you're still recovering, so maybe first we could talk about your timeline for your recovery, and then B, just like what you have planned for 2024.
Yeah. So, there isn't really a timeline too much because the doctor like think says I'm good, but I think he means by like Muggle standards. So now it's like just on me to figure out how to recover. But I think it's still going to be like many months before I can really like properly take impact and jump, which is fine. But I guess my goal for 2024 is to just become healthy and recover my ankle well and get back to doing what I was doing. Yeah,
Nice.
that's that's like a very simple goal, but yeah, that's
That's awesome.
really all. So,
That's cool. That's cool. So, yeah, what are you planning on doing as far as like getting it back up to speed, and how are you going to
yeah,
achieve that?
I'm planning on doing a lot of physical therapy, a lot of like conditioning for it, which
Yeah,
I'm already doing, but I think I could be
nice.
doing more. And I plan on doing hopefully more like basic parkour, just like jumps, not even flips, but just jumps because I've always thought that those are good for your ankles, and yeah, they feel good to do even now. So those I want to do more. Um, what else did I think about recovery? I don't know. Just yeah, physical therapy and jumps. That's all I really got. Yeah,
Nice. Well,
but
that's a good route, man. I mean, if you
the
can get
plan.
it mobile and strong enough, and then learn more of that like explosive takeoff and landing again, then you'll be pretty good. So we'll get you on some adamantium ankles or something like that.
Yeah, that is definitely something I'll be doing
Yeah,
this
yeah.
year. Already started doing jumps too, and they feel good. So yeah, basically I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, but like hopefully more. That's my goal.
Nice. And how often
Yeah.
are you training right now per week? About like at the
I
gym, I
mean,
mean,
at the
like
gym, yeah,
like tricks and stuff.
yeah. I train up every day outside or like at a training park or at the gym. But I go to the gym to like try tricking stuff, like kicks or whatever, like 3, 4 times a week, probably. Yeah.
Nice.
So I still
Nice.
train a lot. I
Nice.
can't train for as long; it gets super sore. So, yep.
So what kind of stuff, like how's your session been modified then? Like, so how long are you able to trick right now? I'm just trying to get an idea of like, because people hearing this, it's helpful to hear the process of like, oh, he's injured, but he's still tricking often and still training, but not pushing it too much. So I think that
Yep.
process is just really valuable. So like how long were your sessions before? How long are they now? And how are like the surfaces split up now?
Yep. Um, Before I would train a lot, like twice a day, and like
Yeah.
pretty consistently. Both the sessions would probably be like over an hour, like maybe like 1 to 3 hours. I don't know, sometimes more, but sometimes less, sometimes more. But and I would do it on like whatever surface. Like I'd go outside and trick on grass or like do freerunning stuff onto grass or onto mulch, and I'd go to the gym and train on the trampoline or on the floor or like I would do bar skills. That's something I'll be able to do soon, actually, I think, once this
Nice.
is done. But yeah, it was my training felt very diverse before. Like I would just do whatever. It was great. But now I still train every day. Even sometimes it's just like a 30-minute tramp sesh, but that still counts, I guess. But now, yeah, my surfaces are not too split up. I tramp like at least 90% of the time just because it's what feels way better for my ankle. Like everything else just hurts, like straight up. Like not necessarily in a bad way, but it will get really sore really fast if I try to do anything on floor. But that being said, I still do try stuff on floor, especially now that my ankle is getting a little better, can kind of jump and land again, like a little. I do a lot of kicks. I have been doing a lot of kicks actually since kind of early in the
Nice.
recovery too, because kicks often take off and land on your hyper leg. So yeah, I do that now. Probably like I probably spend like 2 or 3 days a week doing like some kicks for like an hour or something, and some like rat pulls and stuff too. Yeah, and then I'll do like some scoot fulls too, and like really basic 2 foot takeoff tricks that don't hurt too much. So yeah, it's mostly tramp, but I do also do tricking now. It's feeling better. So yep.
Nice. And do you,
Earlier in the recovery, it was 100% tramp, 0% anything else. Yeah.
right. So are you deciding this when you go to the session, or do you write it out? Do you plan your training like for the week or anything like that, or for the
Yeah,
day even?
I don't plan, just because I never really have done that. Yeah, that's probably the main reason. Yeah, I go to the session. I just do whatever comes into my head,
Right,
pretty
right.
much. Sometimes I'll go to the sesh and I will spend the entire time on the trampoline and not touch the floor. Sometimes I'll go to the sesh and spend like 50% of the time on the trampoline and then like 50% of the time on the floor. Like I'll do some stuff into the foam pit. Like, yeah, getting more diverse now again, which is cool.
Cool,
But
cool.
I don't write anything down.
That's awesome. So we're getting close to wrapping up. I just wanted to make sure I asked you everything that I wanted to ask. But do you have any advice to any athletes who are trying to master any like complex or hard skills while they're also managing injuries? Like maybe it's not as severe as your injury, right? Maybe they just have an ankle that's gets sore after a while, or like an injury
Yeah.
that they're worried about from the past that they're still kind of rehabbing, but they're trying to still, they feel ready for the next skill. Do you have any tips for people like that that are in that situation, similar to yours?
Yeah, I would say like break it down as much as possible with like the way you're going to take off, the airform, the way you're going to land. Like try to break it down so that you know that you can actually like take the trick without hurting yourself. Like you can perform the trick and like try it in a safe way. So like if you're trying a certain trick and you know you're going to land like a certain way, or you might like eat it a bunch of times, like just fall, then make sure that you're like able to do that before you try it. You know what I mean? Don't just find out the hard way that you shouldn't, that you actually weren't physically ready for that. Like try your best to break it down before. That's my advice. If you're dealing with an injury and you're trying something hard, yeah.
And then let's say they don't have anything they're worried about, it'd still be a pretty similar process.
Yeah. Oh, no injuries. It's like the same, dude. For me, like training with an injury, it's gonna sound weird, but training with an injury is the same as training without an injury because like there's always obstacles and challenges that you have to deal with when you're training. Like there's not like body related, just like every trick that you try or everything that you try has like some associated risk or challenge. Like if you're not injured, right? Like and you're trying like full snapu, you still have to land in a certain way to protect like your knees and stuff, right? Like how many people have busted their ACL on like a snapu? Like dozens easily. But you always have to be worried about this stuff anyway. So adding an injury just adds like something else you have to be worried about. But you already had to be worried about some stuff anyway. It's not like yeah, like it's for me it's not like everything changes. It's just like another thing that I have to think about that adds to the challenge. And then I work with it. So it's just like normal training in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I feel about it.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I love that. I love how you put that. That's really dope. Yeah, so any other advice you would have for anybody listening? I know I'm asking you a lot of questions, but do you have any advice for people trying to land their dream trick in 2024? How about that?
All right. Yeah. Start now for sure. Start now. Even if the trick is super intimidating to you, if it's your dream trick, it's super intimidating. There's definitely ways that you can like just train the prereqs more or like train the actual trick more on other surfaces. Like there's so many ways to train a trick. So don't get intimidated and just yeah, train the prereqs as much as possible.
No, I like the
Like,
start now, and that's what I was talking about before that you do really well is like you're not going to wait till, oh, I'm perfect again. It's the perfect scenario. Just like you said, there's always obstacles and there's always challenges that you have to navigate. So
yeah,
waiting for the perfect time is not that effective a lot of times because you're not learning how to navigate some of those issues that you will always need to learn how to navigate. If you just
yeah,
wait till like, oh, I only have one day a year where I feel perfect, and then you're never going through those challenges. And then B, that it just there's not enough times where you're going to feel perfect.
Yeah, no,
For-
it doesn't happen, unfortunately. But yeah, I really think that like it's also so mental. Like if you don't do anything mentally challenging for a long time because you're waiting for that one day where you feel like perfect to try like a intimidating skill, it's like going to be so hard because you won't have like the experience from before of like trying mentally challenging stuff. Like you won't have done it for so long. Like your mental game is going to be weak as hell. Whereas like right now, like because I've been doing stuff the whole time, even though I'm super injured, like my like ability to try stuff still feels like pretty much completely intact. Like feels really good. Whereas I know that if I didn't do anything for 6 months and I just started right here with this with what I have now, this body, like dude, I wouldn't be able to try like anything. Like I'd be so worried. So yeah, I think that it's really important to like always be like kind of on it with these skills and not like pushing like crazy, but always like thinking about them and not waiting like you said. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. Thank you so much. I think that's a good way for people to start landing their dream skills in 2024. They could listen to this and then just start now.
Yeah.
So thank you,
Yep.
bro. Where can people find you if they want to see your content?
You can find me on Instagram at YOLOFlow7 or on YouTube, James East.
Dope. All right. Thank you, bro.
Yeah. Thank you.